I'm super excited today because, as part of our ongoing Blueprint series here at Marketing AI Institute, we're creating in-depth guides to how you can get started with AI across a number of different marketing functions and industries. And we've done at least half a dozen of these so far. And our latest one is AI for B2B marketers. This is a category near and dear to our hearts. Many of us came from the B2B marketing world. Many of our audience members are in B2B in some way or another. And we're lucky enough to partner with Intellimize on this blueprint. So the experts at Intellimize and the Institute team put their heads together to create this asset. And Intellimize is actually an AI-powered testing platform. So you're actually able to run A/B tests at scale of different assets using this AI-powered platform. So Intellimize is one of those really, really actionable and solid AI use cases, especially in the B2B space. So for anyone who does not know us, my name is Mike Kaput. I am the Chief Content Officer at Marketing AI Institute. So I'm pretty much daily trying to use AI technology to grow our audience and our leads. And I'm joined by Kathy McPhillips, our Chief Growth Officer here at the Institute as well. So over the next, 40 minutes or so, we're going to walk through some of the key elements in the AI for B2B Marketers Blueprint to show you how to actually understand and approach artificial intelligence specifically for B2B marketing. Now, I do want to very quickly talk about Marketing AI Institute. We have many people, I'm sure, in the audience who know our work and have followed us for a long time, but we also have a lot of new people joining our audience each and every month. So I wanted to, for some of the newer folks, give you a sense of who we are, what we do, and where we've been and where we're going. So what's really interesting, we've been making AI approachable and actionable for marketers since about 2016. This is well before, ChatGPT, well before the generative AI craze that we now find ourselves in. And, we've grown into an industry-leading source of education for marketers and business leaders trying to get started with artificial intelligence. We're actually on track for about 400,000 site visitors this year. We've got more than 50,000 people who are in our database, leaders from businesses of every type that are trying to understand artificial intelligence. We have thousands of people who have taken our free Intro to AI class, as well as joined our community on Slack. And we've also had hundreds of people either take on-demand education in the form of our Piloting AI for Marketers on-demand course in this past year alone. And we had 700 plus people this past year attend our Marketing AI conference here in Cleveland. We also occasionally do workshops and consulting for top brands. So for many years now, we have been trying to lead the industry into a smarter, more intelligent future using artificial intelligence across many different areas of marketing and business. So let's talk about what we're going to discuss today, which is really how can B2B marketers get started with artificial intelligence. And the way we're going to do that is by going through the following agenda. We're going to first talk about your AI opportunity. Why does AI matter so much to B2B marketers? Then we're going to talk about what is AI really. We're not going to get into a bunch of jargon or technical terminology, but we are going to give kind of an actionable, approachable definition of AI, what it is, and what it can do. We're also going to share some very practical AI use cases in B2B marketing, as well as some tools you may want to consider as you move forward. By no means can we cover every use case or tool. There's literally thousands of them, but we'll get you started by sharing from the blueprint some of the top AI use cases and tools out there that you want to consider. Last but not least, myself and Kathy will be fielding questions and having a discussion at the end of this webinar on the topics we've discussed. So if you have a question you would like answered, I would encourage you to put that in the chat or put that in the Q&A.
I'll just
All
chime
right.
in saying it's much easier if you put it in the Q&A box at the bottom rather than in the chat just so it doesn't get lost. But I will find it either way.
All right. So let's jump in here and let's talk about what is the opportunity for B2B marketers when it comes to artificial intelligence? Why does this stuff matter? Why should we care? Well, it matters because B2B marketers have quite a bit on their shoulders. I mean, they're tasked every day with acquiring and nurturing customers over a very long and complex buyer journey. There are more stakeholders, more touch points, more data than ever to juggle here. Not to mention, B2B marketers are expected to do all of this while giving their buyers a one-to-one personalized consumer experience. And this is really what one of AI's advantages in this space comes down to. According to research done by Intellimize, 90% of B2B buyers expect a B2C personalized purchasing experience, even when making a business purchase. So we are no longer in the days of stuffy, different B2B marketing that doesn't look anything like the slick consumer experiences and campaigns in B2C. The expectation is that you will be doing the same thing in the B2B space. Now, on top of this, B2B marketers aren't only expected to deliver that kind of experience, they're also under huge pressure to drive bottom line growth. This year alone, especially, HubSpot actually found that B2B marketers' top priority in 2023 is to increase revenue and sales. And that actually replaced increasing brand awareness from the previous year. There is a lot of attention being paid to how B2B marketers in every type of organization are actually impacting the bottom line and filling pipeline. Now, the good news here is that artificial intelligence can help. So it can help in a number of important ways. First, it can help you increase productivity. Artificial intelligence can actually complete many different tasks at scale and in seconds that may be taking your team hours to complete. Everything from analyzing data to debugging code to building entire campaigns. AI can actually unlock efficiencies that weren't previously able to be captured by traditional technology. It can perform a lot of manual tasks at scale and free up team members to focus on what we might call uniquely human work, all the strategic and creative possibilities and activities that humans are very good at doing. Now, I should also mention another huge area here is decreasing costs. So AI creates so many efficiency gains in certain areas that you can actually do much, much more with much less, publish more, and deliver more value to your organization while staying within your marketing budget and getting much more out of it. And last but certainly not least, AI can elevate performance. It's not just about cutting costs or saving money. You can actually do much, much more that was previously impossible using artificial intelligence technology. AI excels at analyzing data sets that are more massive than humans alone can analyze on their own. And it's able to test, learn, and pivot at lightning speed. That means better performance for you and your team. While this all sounds great, the truth here is that most organizations, business leaders, and marketers are unfortunately not very prepared for the power and potential of artificial intelligence and what it's going to do to the way we do B2B marketing. Now, the really good news here, though, is that you don't need to become an overnight expert in data science or machine learning or engineering to understand and benefit from this technology. You just have to understand what AI actually is and how it can be used practically in your own business, in your own role. So that's what we're going to talk about over the rest of today's webinar. We're going to talk about what is this technology? How can it be used? How can it deliver value to you starting today? So we often run into a problem right away when discussing AI. And the problem is that you ask 10 different AI experts to give you a definition of what AI is, you'll get probably 10 slightly different answers. They may all be correct, but AI is such a large topic. Lots of people approach it from lots of different angles. We really like this definition because of its simplicity. It comes from a guy named Demis Hassabis, who is the CEO of DeepMind, which is an AI lab acquired by Google many years ago. Demis is functionally the head of AI at Google today. He says that AI is the science of making machines smart. What does that actually mean? Well, to understand what it means to make machines smart, we kind of need to look at the machines we have today, all the traditional software we've used over the last 2 decades to do our jobs, because those machines are actually quite dumb. Your traditional software, non AI software that you use to do every marketing and business task today, it's just not very smart. If you think about it, it's actually very, very limited. So take your average marketing automation system, one that does not use any type of AI. You're still doing a ton of the work on your own. Before you can even use this software, you have to create assets, you have to build workflows, create lists, segment audiences, create rules and logic, and tell the machine what to do at every step of the way. Once you instruct the machine, it then goes and does what you want it to. It publishes a blog post, sends emails in bulk, publishes a landing page. That's all really helpful, but at every step of the way, your marketing doesn't get any smarter unless you get smarter. The machine makes no recommendations. It does not tell you what to do different. It doesn't learn from what went right and wrong during a campaign. It's totally static. AI is very, very different. AI is smarter software. It's software that has the ability to predict what comes next, to understand data and take actions based on it. It is able to recommend tasks, recommend plans, recommend strategies. If you kind of think about it in a crude analogy, traditional software is like a plane and you're a pilot, right? So you're at every step of the way telling the machine what to do. It follows your instructions to the T. It does not do anything on its own. AI is much more like actually having a co-pilot. It works hand in hand with you to come up with ideas, strategies, and possibilities that only a human historically has been able to come up with. So together, the future of B2B marketing is really humans plus machines working hand in hand to make marketing much, much smarter. So when we use, when we use this term artificial intelligence, it's really an umbrella term, and it's an umbrella term for all the technologies that make machines, that make software much, much smarter. Only a couple other terms here that are important to know. I won't overwhelm you with a lot of terminology, but it is helpful to understand that you often hear the term machine learning, which is the primary subset of AI. It's what makes a lot of advanced AI capabilities possible. Now, machine learning is when we are literally teaching a machine to learn. We are giving it a ton of data and training it on how to achieve a goal using that data. Once it's trained, it can then go and achieve that goal with new sets of data without direct human involvement. What's more, over time, it can learn to get better based on its performance. So a machine learning tool, for instance, for email marketing can not only learn when to send an email to an individual so that they have the highest chance of opening it, it can learn after every send to send email more efficiently, achieve the goal of higher open rates better and better every time. This is very dynamic technology that is able to not only think and learn like people can, but also to improve on its own. So deep learning is the last kind of big category to understand at a high level here. Deep learning is an advanced subset of machine learning. We're not just making machines smart with deep learning. We're making them more like humans. We're actually using deep learning to emulate how the human brain learns. So machines can learn how to do things humans do, like see and hear and speak and write and move and understand. Deep learning is powering everything today from self driving cars to facial recognition. It's also what powers the latest advancements in the category of AI that we call generative AI, or AI that generates language, images, video, audio, and code. This is the stuff that powers things like ChatGPT. So many years ago at the Institute, as we were exploring artificial intelligence and trying to understand it, we ran into this problem that it was really hard to take an understanding of AI at an abstract level and apply it to what we were actually doing in our marketing and in our business. So we actually started studying how some of the main AI companies out there, people like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, were categorizing and talking about artificial intelligence in business. And what we came up with is there are three very broad categories of AI. Within each of these categories, there are thousands of different tools and use cases across every area of marketing and business. But understanding the three broad categories here, prediction, vision, and language, can really help you get a practical grasp on how AI can start being applied to areas of your B2B marketing. So I want to go through these in just a few minutes. And as we're going, just start thinking about how can prediction, vision, and language AI be applied to all the different tasks and activities you and your teams do every day. First up is prediction, the first of the three big categories. Prediction AI is AI that can do things like forecast outcomes using data. And when you're able to forecast outcomes using data, then a whole host of possibilities become very possible. You can do things like recommend actions based on what you're predicting will happen next. You can predict trends, patterns. You can even, like you see here, personalize offers. This is an AI tool called Persado that actually takes marketing messages and personalizes them to different types of people based on what motivates them most. So in this case, you can see in the example, Persado is tailoring the language of a single ad two different ways to two different people. And it's tailoring it so that it is using the language that motivates each of these people. They are both motivated by different things. By personalizing it in this way, by predicting what language each of these individuals will be most motivated by, Persado is then able to increase the engagement and actions taken when you use it on one of your ads. Like for instance, here, in this example, this fashion retailer saw $78 million in revenue lift because its ads were tailored exactly to the language and motivational language that people cared about the most.
Mike, could you explain how Prestado gets the customer information um, in order to personalize the ads?
Yeah, so from our understanding, Persado is trained on a vast proprietary data set that many, many years they've been building a model to based on these behavioral signals and billions of data points about what motivates people. They're able to actually train a model that can then understand when presented with new people, new users, new viewers of an ad, understand, oh, okay, those people fit into certain things it understands about motivation. It can then, with a high degree of accuracy, predict that person is someone motivated by A, B, and C types of language. And then it can automatically personalize the ad based on that. So another core area of AI is vision. Vision AI is any AI related to anything visual. So vision AI can do things like generate images, generate video, identify objects, identify faces, and detect movements. So you can actually see here, this is a popular image generation tool called Midjourney. In it, I am typing in a simple text prompt. Generate an image of a beach at sunset with several palm trees swaying in the breeze and make it photorealistic. And as you can see in the video here, in just 30 to 60 seconds or so, I am given four possibilities of a very realistic beach scene. There are so many possibilities when it comes to this type of technology. How many visual assets and activities do we do that include visuals in our day-to-day marketing work? Now, I want to give you a sense of how quickly AI capabilities are developing. This is a timeline of all the versions of Midjourney, the tool I just showed. The first version was released in February of 2022, and the image output was pretty good. I mean, it's kind of cool you can make that image with AI. But if you fast forward to version 5.1 on the right, that was released May 3rd, 2023. So, what, 15 months or so after V1? V5.1 is nearly photorealistic. These tools are roughly doubling in their capabilities every 12 to 16 months or even faster in many, many domains. So even as we talk about what's possible today, it is just the beginning of what you will be able to do very, very soon. So as you're thinking about your own use cases in your organization, there are literally hundreds or thousands you can be leveraging today. Tomorrow, the possibilities will be even greater.
Mike, have you tried the regenerate feature or the background like expander in some of these tools where
Yeah, they're really impressive. So yeah, in a tool like Midjourney now, you saw that photo of those palm trees. I could take one of those and say, scan over with my mouse and say, fill in the rest of this image. And it will generate dynamically the rest of this image like it's a real scene it's taking a photo of. It's very, very impressive.
I've done that a lot with presentations where if I have a portrait photo up, but I want that background to be the color of the whole slide, it's just been simple use case, but it's just such a prettier experience.
Yeah. And it was like basically inconceivable 16 months ago
Right.
that we could even do any of this. So not only the fact it's possible, but how quickly this technology has gotten much, much better should really give people pause to think about, okay, not only are we going to talk about what's possible today, but what can you imagine will be possible very, very soon? You're going to have to start adapting how you think about the rate of change and what's possible in marketing very quickly as well.
Kind of just gonna stop for 1 second. So Ashish is asking to explain the PowerPoint use case again. So I have an image of I don't know, our office, and I'm talking about something, but the image I have is a portrait, is orientation. But I don't want to have like the portrait here and then text over here. I would like that blue background to just extend the whole length of the entire slide. So I can regenerate that background, even if it's just the same color, just to have that whole background be that blue background that looks like our office. And then lay my text in over it. I mean, a very simple example, but just showing what's possible with some of these technologies.
Yeah. And we won't dwell too much on just Chat GPT, but in vision alone, within the last 10 days, Chat GPT has gotten the ability to see. So you can now drop images into it and it can recognize what's going on in them. And that sounds like a simple capability, but it unlocks literally thousands of use cases in marketing. In our initial tests, we've already done things like drop in photos of dashboards and told it to analyze data, and things like drop in slides or visuals and make sure that there are no typos in them, or give us design and formatting advice. It's really pretty breathtaking. The last big area of AI is language. And you're probably familiar with this. This is, basically everything that until very recently ChatGPT was able to do with text. AI for language lets you do almost anything with the written or spoken word. Language AI today can read and write content, listen to, understand audio, understand sentiment, recognize voices, and translate languages. It also gets really interesting when you start applying powerful AI like the tool here, Claude 2, Claude from Anthropic, Claude.ai. This is very similar to a chat GPT, but it can ingest a lot of information. So here I've given Claude one of Amazon's latest earnings reports. I'm not very financially minded from an investment perspective. So I said, break this down for me so I can actually understand it. And it takes very technical and complex information and gives me a very accessible summary. We'll talk about this a little more in a bit, but in B2B marketing, like how many times Are you tasked with spending hours understanding very possibly technical disciplines, reading dozens or hundreds of pages of material, and processing a lot of information? These tools can help you do that much, much faster and much more efficiently. So let's talk about some of these use cases in B2B marketing and what we can actually do with the tools and the capabilities and the categories of AI that I just described. So I'm going to keep in mind those three big categories: prediction, vision, and language. I'm going to now map a few possible use cases in B2B marketing to each of those to show you how we kind of connect the dots here, how we go from theory to actual practice. So prediction AI use cases for B2B marketers, there's so many of them, but some of the really compelling ones are things like using your data to predict the likelihood of a conversion. Maybe that's a conversion to a customer or on a webinar, turning into a webinar lead or becoming more qualified. Anything we have a lot of data on, we can start making pretty interesting predictions using AI. We can do things like forecast deal size, forecast contract value using data we have on past deals. We can recommend the optimal follow-up timing and cadence for each visitor or lead. And that could be the cadence of sales communications or marketing collateral and messages that are sent to them. We can start predicting the win probability for opportunities in the pipeline, forecast our expected sales cycle length to inform how our marketing and sales process works. We can be using prediction AI today to identify lookalike accounts that resemble or could resemble your best customers, and even forecast our expected sales revenue impact of marketing campaigns and programs. Again, kind of hearkening back to where we find ourselves in 2023 as B2B marketers, being able to show in any way possible the likelihood that your actions and activities will impact revenue is a huge, huge win. With vision AI in B2B marketing, we can do things like analyze the facial expressions in sales calls to gauge engagement and effectiveness of messages. We can create customized visual assets, perhaps on a one-to-one basis for high fit targets or ABM targets. We can, of course, generate compelling images and videos to either nurture leads or inform our marketing content. All of us now, for relatively little money, have the ability to be essentially a professional design editor. We can seamlessly edit photos and videos without professional design skills using a lot of the tools out there. We could do things like identify brand logos for influencer marketing. I mean, this ability of AI to understand images can be applied in a lot of creative ways across what we're trying to achieve in B2B marketing every day. We can automatically adjust and design visual assets and brand collateral. I mean, anytime you are designing or working on any type of visual, there's a very good chance vision AI of some type can help you do that much more efficiently. And like I mentioned with the ChatGPT vision example, we can do things like analyze images of data, dashboards, and reporting systems completely automatically. Within language, as I'm sure you're starting to realize, there are tons and tons of use cases. I mean, we already have the ability to automate or augment any type of content creation. Now, wouldn't necessarily recommend you clicking a button and generating a really generic blog post, but we can automate a lot of the things that take up a lot of time before that blog post gets written, things like research or summarization. We can start A/B testing different CTAs and optimize them based on response rates. We can summarize and analyze lots of industry-specific or technical material and better understand our customers, our industry, and technical domains that we are helping people create marketing collateral for. One really cool one that we've kind of started to use a bit on our end is kind of processing calls and conversations with thought leaders. We do this in one sense for our podcast every week, where our thought leader, our resident thought leader, is our CEO, Paul Reitzer. I interview him on what's going on in AI every week on our podcast, and we use AI to create transcripts of that, summarize those conversations, write content based off those conversations, provide insights based on what was said. And you can use the thought leadership material in so many ways using artificial intelligence. We can do things like tailor ad messages to the language that motivates people. We saw that with Persona. And we can engage with CRM and MarTech systems using natural language prompts. This is one I look very forward to. Our marketing agency that I used to work for, where we spun the Institute out of, was HubSpot's first ever agency partner. That was a large amount of our services revolved around HubSpot. And today, you can start using tools like ChatSpot from HubSpot, which is essentially ChatGPT for your HubSpot data, where it overlays your data and you ask questions and query and conversation and have conversation with all the data stored in your HubSpot portal about your leads, about your contacts, about companies. That gets really, really exciting really quick when you're able to very quickly just access data, the right data, without having to build dashboards or go hunting for it in a CRM system.
And that's nice, we've all been going our team is small, we've been going in different directions just to have that capability because in my last role a few years ago, there were 3 of us that handled the data. So
Mm,
at least we had each other to bounce ideas off of, and right now it's like, if you're not there, I'm going into HubSpot and using chat,
right.
what I mean? So it's like that, like you said, that co-pilot or that person that can, help me think through some things or
And
think
this
of
is
some things I didn't think of.
absolutely. And this is a really good example, too, of the rate of change I talked about. ChatSpot from HubSpot today, they fully admit it's still basically kind of an alpha product, right? It's still pretty limited. It's not some perfect, all knowing conversational agent. But imagine 6 months from now, 12 months from now, what is your business, what does your marketing start to look like once these tools progress to a certain level of competency? If you can imagine a future, which I can, 6 to 12 months from now, where we will have very, very good AI co-pilots across every piece of software you use, what kind of impact would that have on your day-to-day work, on your business, on what you hire for, what skills you prize? It has bigger implications than simply automating, mundane tasks.
I think it's a really important message. If you try something now and the use case, it's not a good fit for you, or it's not giving you the results you want, perhaps it might be your the way how you're using the tool, what inputs you're putting in, but also everything's iterating in real time right now because they
Right.
have to be because all other competitors have rolled out their products. So check back in a month or it's
Yes.
3 6 months, because they're all getting better and better with every single day that passes.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this a bit in a few slides here. If you haven't audited the current software you use across a lot of different marketing and business tasks in the last 60 days, I would take a quick look at them because they're all rolling out lots of interesting AI features. Now, some other interesting AI use cases for B2B marketers. We talked about kind of the 3 broad categories, but within each of those, there's tons of different areas of marketing, tons of different use cases for marketers. So I want to go through again some use cases that are possible today that you may want to start considering in your own work for your own team. Now, AI for conversion rate optimization is one of them. I mean, using AI, we can easily test any element of our website so we can learn faster what works, what doesn't, and improve customer experiences. We can more precisely target different audiences based on a range of data. We can very easily tailor our website messaging to deliver personalized customer experiences at scale. And we can show different website versions to each visitor to deliver the certain combination of assets that has the highest likelihood of converting. We can also do many, many types of sophisticated testing across a variety of assets to learn what is going to maximize conversion rates.
Mike, when that second to last bullet you're talking about, showing different website versions, that was possible. That's been possible for a while, but I think the important distinction here is that with AI, pages can surface that we don't even know that person wants.
Yeah. Variation, I think that's a key point, right? Because like we say A/B testing as kind of a fit in for like what we're really talking about here, or multivariate testing. We're not just using AI to test like 5 variations. AI is literally able, with some of the tools out there, to suggest thousands of different variations at scale. So yeah, you might be severely limited, not by the fact that you can't test stuff today, but by the fact that the more tests you can run, the more you learn, the faster you learn and the better the results you get. When it comes to account-based marketing, tons of different areas where we can use AI to get better results. So we can do things like predict accounts that will buy based on your existing customers. We can generate digital assets at scale. So taking a core page for an ABM campaign and customizing it using AI, either one-to-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many. We can create hyper-personalized content assets and creative, number of touch points, and base these campaigns on each company's unique needs, internal stakeholders, past interactions, and other behavioral data. And we can use predictive AI to determine the best messaging to pair with each organization's decision-making processes, company ethos, business goals, and challenges. The more data we're able to give some of these tools on what interactions we've had with accounts and customers, the more it's able to make recommendations and personalizations to help us achieve better results.
And Tamara on our team has been using Lavender, just tinkering with Lavender a little bit just to see
Mhm.
what kind of results she's getting. And she's still trying to figure out how much access it would have to our CRM. Do we want it in there? So we're doing a lot of reading the terms and conditions, reading all these different things before we're just jumping in. But I know that she's been trying some things with Lavender.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. I mean, just because some of this stuff is possible today does not necessarily mean you will want to go do it. I mean, the level of comfort you have with what data AI can access is going to depend on your organization. And that's okay, but that is a practical challenge you will have to overcome at some point. AI for content, brand compliance is being used by many organizations already today. I mean, people are using AI platforms to develop and maintain editorial policies, brand standards, style guides, all this stuff that falls into content governance, especially across very big organizations. We can use AI for all different types of personalization of product and content recommendations. So showing people the right thing at the right time based on what they're interested in. We can do things like surface relevant organizational information to employees while they work. I mean, we're already starting to see brands in different verticals building essentially custom versions of ChatGPT on their own data and their own policies in order to aid their workers to be much, much more productive. And we can use AI for website experience and website personalization. We can create dynamic website experiences that help you find what you're actually looking for. We can automatically serve different versions of websites to different visitors, use contextual greetings with AI powered chatbots to have it like you're actually talking, having a natural conversation when you hit a website. And we can do things like make product and content discovery intelligent. Instead of just having keyword based, search on our site, we can actually be much more dynamically analyzing product metadata to serve up better search results and help people find what they want. So I just want to mention a couple very, very quick case studies here. Both of these come from our friends at Intellimize, but just to kind of give you a sense of what's possible when you start applying AI tools to different areas of your B2B marketing. So in this case, Coupa Software worked with Intellimize on their ABM campaigns. This was a pillar of the company's growth strategy. And so what they did is actually used Intellimize to test different copy and image variations within each vertical they were targeting through their ABM campaigns, and they did it without writing any code. Now, the scale of this is really what's crazy because it gives you a sense of what's possible here. Using Intellimize's AI, Coupa tested 590,000. That is not a slip of the tongue. 590,000 versions of its homepage at the same time, all while ensuring the experiences that users saw were relevant to them. And it turns out that has a huge effect. They saw a 32% lift in revenue from the homepage by doing this kind of personalization and testing at scale. Drift is another example of how AI-powered personalization and testing can create huge results. So Drift was actually able to run 30 million A/B tests in 90 days. They tested 19 different campaigns with 121 variations to basically get people to give them feedback on their site's new look, feel, and messaging. They were able to learn through this dynamic testing at scale what actually worked, what actually didn't. They're not just doing this with guesswork. And they actually saw 129% conversion lift in less than 90 days on their website through this type of testing. All right, so before we get into our final bits of Q&A here, I'm going to quickly run through some possible tools. I want to be cognizant of our time here, so I'm going to go fast, but like Kathy mentioned, you'll get the recording as well. But I want to emphasize before I dive into some tool recommendations, any tool you buy moving forward is going to or should be made smarter with artificial intelligence. You will need to buy AI technology versus traditional technology moving forward. But as you explore new tools and capabilities, I don't want you to forget the technology that you already use every day. We'll talk about this at the very end here, but a lot of the existing tools and platforms that you've bought, that you pay for, they're baking in really powerful AI capabilities or putting powerful AI on their roadmap. So don't neglect the tech you already have. First up, a tool called AI Advertising is an intelligent ad platform that you can use to do things like predict the success of ad campaigns and hyper-personalize your campaigns to specific buyers. We talked about Drift as a case study. They're also a conversational AI company. You can use Drift's AI chatbots to automatically chat with visitors 24/7. They've just released a bunch of new AI updates as well to make those conversations much more organic, sophisticated, and natural. Of course, Intellimize is one to note. If you do any type of optimization or A/B testing or personalization, or you want to, it can run site variations literally at breathtaking scale, like we discussed, to test different elements. Jasper is one of the leading AI writing tools out there. It can generate content for you automatically, supplement the content you're writing, generate images from posts, and create content in 30 different languages. Lately is an AI tool for social media. Lately can actually create posts from existing content for social channels. So let's say you have a blog post and you need to populate your social promotion calendar to promote that post. You can give Lately the link and it will automatically create for you different variations of social media posts automatically. A human can then go through and say, hey, we're going to publish these ones, throw out these ones, edit some more, and very quickly scale up how you use social media. MarketMuse is a tool that we use all the time at Marketing AI Institute. It uses AI to help you rank higher in search. MarketMuse can identify what topics you should be writing about. It can even use personalized metrics for your specific website to tell you here's how hard it would be or easy it would be for you to rank. And it can actually use AI to generate SEO briefs that tell you how to rank for topics. You can even see here, using their AI-powered heat maps, you can spy on the competition's SEO. Here I can see all the gaps in the content that's currently ranking for a specific topic. I can then use that information to outrank the competition. Rasa.io automatically generates newsletters. Not only that, it personalizes them on a one-to-one basis moving forward as you send them to subscribers. So initially, your subscribers will get a newsletter generated by Rasa with different articles and links from sources you've specified. And over time, it will show people different content based on their content consumption habits, which of course leads to much higher engagement and much better open rates. Writer is another leading AI platform. This is especially one to look at if you're in an enterprise or if you require high-end security and compliance. There's, for instance, in healthcare, Writer is HIPAA compliant. So a lot of these tools, not all of them are designed to be enterprise grade. There's a lot of AI startups out there that just many people are not using because of security and privacy concerns. Writer addresses those up front. You can use it to do anything you do with an AI writing tool, like generate content. It will learn your brand style and voice, and it's built for teams so everyone can collaborate in the same platform. Now, remember how I said existing tools you already use? might have powerful AI features. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but just an example of across different software categories that you might be using every day, what tools already have really powerful AI or are quickly rolling it out. If you use any type of Google or Microsoft product, you have AI co-pilots now within those tools or can pay a little extra per month to turn those on that help you do a range of generative AI activities within your existing docs. Things like HubSpot, Salesforce, other marketing automation and sales platforms now have a range of AI features and assistants to help you get more out of the data in those databases and those platforms' capabilities. And then marketing software for many, many different types of use cases is starting to release AI powered features. Companies like Adobe and Canva are quickly rolling out a ton of really great design AI features within their platform. Well worth a look if you haven't revisited those tools recently. Tools like MailChimp are allowing you to generate emails right within their platform. Vimeo, existing video hosting platform, now has a range of other AI features, including the ability to generate scripts on the fly. So again, as you're thinking about how to put all these pieces together and you're saying, okay, I think I'm kind of understand some of the use cases I might have for this technology, start auditing what tech you already use and investigating what AI features, if any, it has. And then as we end up here, I want to just give one more shout out to Intellimize. Like you've seen in the case studies, companies are using Intellimize to do breathtaking levels of personalization, A/B testing, optimization across their websites, and they're getting tons of incredible results by doing it. So you're literally delivering one-to-one personalization to your visitors, dynamically showing website variations to every visitor using their platform. So if you have that use case rated highly in your book, I would strongly recommend talking to them at Intellimize.com. I'll just leave you with this as we dive into final minutes here of Q&A and discussion. This is all about becoming a next-gen marketer. You don't have to be in a new generation of marketing, doesn't matter what your age is, to become next-gen. You just need to realize that marketing is getting smarter around us, and the future is not solely using marketers or solely using machines. It's marketer plus machine. We're going to need to work hand in hand with these technologies like we would with coworkers to do more and make marketing much, much smarter. All right, Kathy, ready to hit some questions at the end here? Like I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, Kathy's got a jet a few minutes early, so we're going to end a few minutes before 1:00 Eastern. So we'll get through as many questions as we can in that time.
Thanks, Mike. That was fantastic, as always. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I have to jump in about like 3 or 4 minutes. And Jessica Ria, who I'm on this with, is on here right now as well. So we'll be late together. And we won't be late. Okay. So someone asked very early on, basically, do you need a bunch of AI tools to do this, to be successful?
I don't think you do, especially at this stage. I think over time, it'll be like MarTech, right? There's an explosion of tools. You'll probably have a lot of different solutions, but you do not need to buy 12 different tools right now to start doing some of these use cases. You probably can get away with a handful of them. You do have to obviously test them out, but I'd recommend just start with 1 or 2 use cases. Find out what are 1 or 2 things that if you could do them much more efficiently or not have to do them at all, they would have a huge impact on your marketing. And I would start with tools to do those. You can honestly if you're using one AI tool really well for one use case, that is a long way better than where many organizations are at today.
Right. And there were a few questions talking about like how expensive this is. And, we talk a lot about our podcast as an example that we're spending less than $100 a month and saving like 60 hours a month. So
Right.
it's a cost benefit analysis of saying, okay, we actually can afford this and we should afford this because it's going to give us efficiencies in so many other places.
Yeah,
Formula, and how do you figure out if that's the right, like how you even pick that tool?
yeah, I don't know if there's a formula yet because to be honest, every tool has very different pricing here. And I realize it's easy to get out of scope and out of budget really quick. But I do think that's why it comes back to use cases. If you can confidently say, here are the top 3 things that would move the needle in our business if we could use AI for them, suddenly you're into use cases that are so valuable. You might just be able to do them very cheaply. There's a lot of tools like Kathy just mentioned that are 10, $20 a month that can have a transformative impact on your business. But also, if you're prioritizing the most valuable use cases, you may find it very quickly useful to shell out even more money to get really incredible results. I mean, some of the results in those case studies we went through were actually transformative. I mean, the type of revenue lift some of those companies were getting would have justified a fairly high price tag, in my opinion.
I agree. Um, so if and when we shut this down and there are still about 20 questions we have not answered, I'm gonna put in a link to our community and let's start just keep this conversation going.
Yeah.
You can jump in and answer a few questions. We can. There are 4,000 people in there who might have different ideas than we do, or they're going to have different ideas than we do. It might have a
Yep.
um, just a point of view that we don't have. So I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. I will
Awesome.
prove you as soon as my next webinar is over. Um, so a few questions about tech specifically.
Mhm.
Is the GPT Dolly integration only for 4, or do you think just 3.5 have access? Do you know?
I don't know. I just used it the other day through GPT-4, like using a
Okay.
Chat GPT Plus subscription. I think that's the only way you can actually get access to it. I didn't see it under the tab for GPT 3.5, but I wasn't paying too close of attention. So you might have to go check that out. I think it's only for Chat GPT Plus subscribers, though. And it's real. I mean, it's not nearly as good as Midjourney, but it's very, very easy while you're doing other things in Chat GPT to use that tool. I've found it quite helpful and impressive.
Awesome. And then can you explain the difference between like a Chat GPT and a Claude?
Yeah, so a lot of these tools are doing roughly similar things using different powered models, for instance. The biggest difference, and the reason I mentioned Claude quite a bit, is that while I use ChatGPT daily and find it quite powerful, Claude has what's called a larger context window. So Claude can actually take in prompts or material up to like 70 or 75,000 words. You could literally put a book into it and it can analyze it. So I find it really useful for, I'll summarize academic papers, reports of dozens of pages or very technical things, or you can literally put in hundreds of pages of material into that tool. So you definitely have to not just, I would say, don't just use one tool, use many. Be testing out several of these at the same time, even if they all do kind of the same thing, find which one fits your needs best. But Claude plus ChatGPT for me is really can be a winning combo.
Yeah, and I've tried, I've done Claude versus ChatGPT versus Bard and had them
Yep.
all open with the same prompts, seeing which one gives me the best results. And it's not always the same one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then I'll take one output, feed it into this one. So, and we're fortunate to be able to tinker and do things like that. But it is interesting to see how different they all really are and
Yes.
where they're excelling versus some others. So I think we're going to end on this question. Jamie's asking, he's been on a few, he or she, sorry, has been on a few of these calls now, and you always mention a variety of tools like Intellimize. What tool excites us the most lately?
I have kind of a not a crazy answer to this, but you cannot sleep on the Chat GPT vision capabilities. They're breathtaking. It's obviously Chat GPT has a lot of flaws, gets a lot of things wrong, has a lot of limitations, but the ability I've been blown away by the ability to drop in again, data you feel comfortable sharing, but drop in like dashboards, visuals, and it can do things with those. It can create outputs based on it. We saw people, some of our friends at Stream Creative, a marketing agency, they put a workflow on a whiteboard into it, just a photo of it, and it was able to build things to turn that workflow into reality. You can use it to analyze designs. There's a lot of options there. It's like there's not really any excuse to not have a Chat GPT Plus account for $20 a month because the vision capabilities alone are pretty incredible.
Yeah. And I think the one that I mean, if you know me, I like to script, but I think the one that I've been playing with a little bit has been Opus Clip. Uh,
Hmm.
we've been wanting to repurpose our podcast because it's our biggest piece of content every single week. but trying to do the blog posts and do the short form videos and do the now YouTube shorts, all the things we're trying to do with this content, it just takes so much time. And I don't know how to necessarily do a lot of those things. But Opus Clip, I can go in and I can take a YouTube link, drop it into Opus Clip, and it gives me 8 to 10 short form videos. And they create those based on using AI to scrub the whole link, not just pull out sentences, but actually pull out the things that they think makes the most sense to encompass, to really, show off that episode. And we can go through, we can change the brand colors, make it ours. And I would say of the 8 to 10, 5 of them are usable.
Mm,
They're not all, it still needs me to go in there or Claire to go in there and make sure that they're actually good.
right.
But that's been a great way for us to really up our YouTube numbers and get the podcast out there even more. So it's been really fun to play around with that.
That's awesome.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here. Come join us in the community. We'll get to your questions in there. And as always, Mike, thanks. And we'll see everyone next time.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.